The phone rings. Long pause, click. Then an automated voice comes on to give you a message. Whether it's a telemarketer, a debt collector, or who knows what, we've all likely experienced being robo-called by a computerized system. What many people aren't aware of is that there are laws that regulate, in many cases outright prohibit, certain types of automated calls, particularly to your cell phone. In this video, I'm going to go over your options if you're dealing with aggressive debt collectors who are routinely robocalling your cell phone. The Telephone Consumer Protection Act, known as the TCPA, is a federal law that focuses on stopping abusive methods that debt collectors and others use to contact consumers. And while the TCPA does regulate things like text messages, telephone solicitations, caller ID, and even junk faxes, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to focus on the TCPA regulations as they apply to debt collectors robocalling your cell phone. The TCPA restricts debt collectors from auto-dialing or sending pre-recorded calls to your cell phone, and they're not permitted to use auto-dialers or pre-recorded messages when calling that same phone. If you're receiving collection calls to your cell phone, and when you pick up there's a delay, and then a click, and then someone comes on the line, it's likely that the call was placed by a machine known as an auto-dialer. Another common tactic of debt collectors is to auto-dial your cell phone and then leave a pre-recorded message about the debt or with instructions to call the collection agency back. In both instances, this would be a violation of the TCPA. But wait, did you give the debt collector permission to contact you on your cell phone? As with most rules, there are exceptions, and the TCPA does allow debt collectors to robocall your cell phone if you give them express consent. You may be saying to yourselves, I would never give permission to a debt collector to bother me on my cell phone. But the law says that if you gave the creditor your cell phone number on the credit application, or provided the number to the creditor as a way in which they could contact you, then you have consented to being contacted via your cell phone about the debt, even via an auto-dialed phone call or pre-recorded message. If you provided your cell phone to the creditor and now they're using it to robocall you, you could revoke your consent by sending a written letter to the creditor and expressly revoking your consent and prohibiting them from contacting you via your cell phone with an auto-dialer or pre-recorded message. Now, the TCPA provides for up to $500 to $1,500 damages per call. So how do you get them to stop? You can sue them. The law allows consumers to sue offending debt collectors and allows you to recover, if you're successful, $500 per call. If the court finds that the debt collector's actions were done knowingly or intentional, that $500 per violation can be tripled to $1,500 per call. If you're receiving these calls, it's important to save any pre-recorded messages you may have in your voicemail, and then to pull a copy of the phone calls being made to your cell phone from your cell phone provider. This will provide you with a list of how many times the offending creditor has called and can be a basis for determining what your damages are. Now, we're simply getting into too many acronyms when it comes to the TCPA and the FDCPA. But TCPA claims are often brought against debt collectors who violate another consumer protection law known as the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, or the FDCPA. This regulates how debt collectors can collect on a debt. Often I'll see a debt collector leave a message on a cell phone where the content of the message violates the FDCPA because it's threatening, vulgar, or has information that's simply not true. At the same time, the debt collector can be in violation of the FDCPA if the message was a pre-recorded collection message or if it's clear that it was auto-dialed. If you're looking to bring an FDCPA claim against an abusive creditor, it's important to review your cell phone history with your lawyer for possible TCPA violations as well. Receiving a robocall from a debt collector is a pretty common occurrence. Are these debt collectors just thumbing their nose at the law? In some cases, the answer is yes. It's a matter of numbers. Debt collectors can call hundreds of more numbers a day with an auto-dialer as compared to what a person can do individually. Debt collection is about getting as many people to respond as possible. And this is a whole lot more efficient than hiring someone to punch in the phone numbers all day. And like you before you watch this video, many people simply didn't know that such calls are against the law. The debt collector may be willing to play the odds that they will be able to collect a whole lot more with relatively little risk of being sued. If you're dealing with an abusive debt collector, you can head on over to consumerwarrior.com, where I have hundreds of articles that I've personally written on how to deal with these types of issues, as well as videos and even the Consumer Warrior podcast that can help you to deal with your debt problem. Thanks for watching.